This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Hey, what is going on, guys? Jay Shy here with another video, and it's pretty late at night. I'm sitting at my desk, and I figure I'd do a pickups video because I guess that's kind of what we do here on YouTube, is we do pickup videos. I guess people like that. I mean, as gamers, I guess we like that. So I figure I've bought a couple of games over the past couple of months that guess I'll do a pickups video. It's been a while since I've actually done one, so I was like, yeah, I guess I'll do one. People like those, so why not? I figure I'll do one late at night. A lot of these are possibly imports. It's like 50-50. A lot are imports, some are English, but I would probably say it's about 50-50. Imports and just regular stuff that I like that are probably just goofy or things that I'm into. So I figured we'd do one. Let's late at night. Why not? Right? First off, but I should probably get into this. I figure instead of just shoving a game into the camera and saying, hey, I bought this, I think it would be more interesting if I went into detail of like why I bought it and what gravitated me towards buying the game in general, because I think it's more interesting that way, I guess. So I think that'd be pretty good. I guess I don't have this in any sort of order, but I figure I'll just do this. Like, yeah, why not? So, I don't know if this light can see, but so the first game I bought is Battle Garegga. Battle Garegga is a vertical shmup that came out on the Sega Saturn in 1997, and I never got a chance to play this game, but I always wanted to. And when I found out that Battle Garegga was getting a port, a perfect port to the PlayStation 4, I was all over it. I played Battle Garegga for the first time about 4 or 5 years ago, and I was really into it. And ever since then, I wanted this game on console, but it's really expensive on the Sega Saturn, just like any other game is on the Sega Saturn. So it's just one of those things where I felt like I just needed to get this because I'm into these kind of games, which is basically like a vertical shmup. So figure I'd buy it. Why not? Next game that I got recently, I'm actually playing through it now, is Super Robot Wars OG, the Moon Dwellers. I've been in a weird headspace as of lately, especially when it came to tactical RPGs, and that's what this is. It's a tactical strategy RPG. But I've been in this weird mood lately to play a lot of Project Cross Zone, but I didn't want to go back to playing Project Cross Zone. And it's not because I hate the game. I love Project Cross Zone. I think it's pretty good. I just didn't want to go back to a game where Project Cross Zone has like this annoying thing that when you almost get clear of all the enemies on the screen, like 80 more would appear, and then you have to go through like 80 more enemies, and I hated that. And this game sort of does that, but not to the extent that Project Cross Zone does. Like, Project Cross Zone will flood your screen with enemies. This game will probably give you about 10 or 12 extra. So I really wanted to play this mostly because of the animation that was going on in it, and it's giant robots. I mean, why not? So I figured I'd buy Super Robot Wars OG, the Moon Dwellers, because I never played the Super Robot Wars game, but I figured I'd start with that one. Next is along the lines of Super Robot Wars OG, but this is SD Gundam G Generations Genesis. This is pretty much in the same category of Super Robot Wars. It plays exactly the same, except it's just SD Gundams. That's pretty much the difference. Like I said, I've been in this weird strategy RPG mood as of late, so I figured I'd buy this too. Why not? It was cheap. It was pretty much on sale, so I figure I import that. I had to import this from, I think, Shanghai, so I got that. Next isn't an import, but I bought Wipeout, the Omega Collection. I remember playing Wipeout last generation. I played my first Wipeout game, and I kind of found it a little boring. And then, I don't know, I saw footage of this one, and I was like, I'm in the mood to play some F-Zero without, buying F-Zero GX, because F-Zero GX can cost quite a bit, and I don't own a GameCube, and I love F-Zero, but this was like the closest I can get. That was like affordable in my price range because I want to buy other games. So I bought this, and this game, I've been playing through it a lot, actually. I'm almost done with it. I'm in the last half of the game, which is basically, it's 3 games in one, which is Wipeout HD, Wipeout 240 something, I think it's called 240. Which one? 2048, and Wipeout Fury. So it has all 3 games in one. So I was like, why not? $30 for this. It's not an import, and I was really in the mood to play an F-Zero game, so I figured, why not? I'll buy that. I will definitely buy that. Next is Devil May Cry DMC Definitive Edition. I bought this just because I wanted to beat it again. I have it on the PlayStation 3, but I wanted to play through the Virgil side of the story, and I was like, I can go for playing through Devil May Cry again. It wasn't a bad game. It was pretty good. But I really wanted to play that Virgil storyline. I could have bought the DLC, but I was like, I really wanted to see what the Definitive Edition was going to offer, so I figured I'd pick this up from GameStop or whatever. But I have very fond memories of this. I actually enjoyed DMC quite a bit. A lot of people hated it. I didn't mind the new design too much. I just felt like he was like a modern-day Dante instead of being like a Dante who is like a 90s trope. Because that's what Dante always felt to me. Dante always felt like a 90s trope where he was kind of like very goofy, but what's that word I'm looking for? He was very cocky. And he's cocky in this one too, but it's more like a grounded version of it, which is weird. But it's not a bad game. Next, I bought Yakuza Kiwami on the PS4. I am not familiar with Yakuza games at all. I've never played a Yakuza game, but I wanted to play Yakuza Kiwami mostly because of the fact that I never played one. So I figured I'd buy this, start with this, see how I liked it, because it was pretty much very, very cheap. I bought this one, and because I was going to buy a Yakuza, I think it's 0, and then a friend of mine told me, no, you should probably start with Kiwami. And I was like, alright, I'll start there. Bought this pretty cheap, and I haven't started it yet, because I heard it's like a strategy, not a strategy, it's an RPG, action RPG, but it can soak a lot of time in your life. So I figured I get this one and kind of start from there. And if I like it, I'll end up buying the other games. Next is Yomawari. Yomawari is one of the most atmospheric games I've ever played. I bought this on a whim just because I saw it. I heard about it months before it even came out, and I remember looking at this game, and I would always say, wow, this game kind of reminds me of Hotaru no Nikki. Why does it look like that? And from what I've been hearing, or what I've been researching, not really hearing, but researching, is that I think this is a 3rd game, actually, because there's another game that comes before this one. It says Yomawari, but it has a different subtitle. Like, this one is Yomawari Midnight Shadows, and there's another one, I think it's called Yomawari... the name escapes me, but Hotaru no Nikki is called The Firefly Diary, and then there's another game that comes after that one, and then this one, and I was like, wow, I wish I would have known that before I played this, but it's actually not a bad game. It's pretty good. It does pretty good at horror things, elements and stuff like that. Like, you play as a little girl walking around with a flashlight, and the only way you can see the evil spirits that roam her town is by flashing your flashlight on her. And she doesn't really have a health bar, per se. She has like a stamina meter. So, like, when a ghost frightens her and you try to sprint away, it takes your stamina away quicker because you're so afraid. And I thought it was a pretty cool game mechanic when I started playing it, and I was really interested in it. So I bought this on a whim, and I loved every minute of it. I'm actually not done with it because the game is actually kind of terrifying in a way. It's very atmospheric, so I haven't finished it yet. Next is I got 99 Vidas on the PlayStation 4. 99 Vidas is a spiritual successor to Streets of Rage. I don't know if you guys can see it behind me, but I like Streets of Rage. I have a ton of posters behind me of Streets of Rage. I have a thing for Streets of Rage. I wanted to play 99 Vidas, but I don't, like you guys know, I don't want to pay for digital media, so I was like, I wonder if there was a physical game, and lo and behold, I was in a forum site that I frequent a lot, and they were selling this. And there's only 1,500 copies of this game, apparently, but I happened to get one, so I got really, really lucky with this, because we can't really get this game without paying a hefty price, apparently, but I basically got this game because I wanted to play it with friends. It's a 4-player Streets of Rage kind of... it reminds me a little bit of Scott Pilgrim, and the gameplay kind of reeled me in, so I ended up buying 99 Vidas, so... Next, we're going into PlayStation 3, and I didn't get a lot of PlayStation 3 games, but I got a few. One game I got is Spec Ops: The Line, mostly because I wanted to play through it again, because I remember playing through this game a long time ago on PC, and I remember loving this game. Not in terms of gameplay, but in terms of story. I thought it told a very good story that was gripping enough to reel me into the game and really like sink my teeth into. So I ended up buying this game on the PlayStation 3 because I wanted to play through it again, but do things differently because I heard this game has like 4 endings, and one of the endings I got, I think my main character, I think he went insane if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure, but I remember it has a pretty cool ending, so I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't played it, but it's a pretty neat game. Next game is a game that a lot of people will not know, which is Ranko Sugemi's Longest Day short piece. This is a game that was done by Suda51 and a handful of animation artists. It has an anime on here called Short Piece. I haven't watched it yet, but I did play through the game. I like this game. It was made by Suda51, and I like Suda. I buy all his games, even if they're bad. And I bought this one. It's really, really short. It'll last you about 2 hours. But I bought this game mostly because I saw the gameplay, and I was like, wow, that looks like a speedrun combo-based Sonic the Hedgehog game. I'll take that. That sounds like it's right up my alley. I think I actually bought this game from a YouTuber, actually, because I remember when I bought this game on eBay, I bought it from a seller called Playongo, and it's weird, I've heard that name before on YouTube, and I actually think I bought this from a YouTuber on eBay, but I'm not entirely sure. I didn't really go out and check and, ask the guy or girl, I don't know, I haven't searched who this person is, but I think I did buy that from a YouTuber, and I love that game. Short Piece is actually pretty good. Ranko Sugemi's Longest Day it's a short game, but good nonetheless. Next is the Nintendo Wii, because I like Nintendo Wii. The first game, I've been in a weird funk for arcade rail shooters. And I ended up buying I didn't buy this, but Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles, I asked a buddy of mine to get it. You guys remember Larry. I asked him to get this for me because I've been in this weird, I want to play arcadey shooters. And I asked him, hey, can you get me Umbrella Chronicles if you're ever out at GameStop, if you ever spot it for a cheap price? And he ended up getting it for me, and he did find it. It's complete. So I've really been in this weird mode to play arcade shooters, and I've beaten this game before with a friend. And I wanted to play it by myself, kind of dual-wield the Wiimote and kind of shoot at the screen, kind of. So I'm definitely going to play through this. Oh, I started already playing through this again, but I wanted to play through that. Next is Resident Evil Darkside Chronicles. Also played this, also beat it, but I wanted to beat it on my own. That's the one thing I liked about the Nintendo Wii U, is that it has backwards compatibility. So whatever I want to go back and play, I have two consoles to go to instead of just one. So I actually love the Wii U for that. It's weird because I have a Nintendo Wii U and barely play Nintendo Wii U games on it. I play Wii games on it most of the time. So I bought this because I wanted to play through it on my own, even though I beat it with a friend a long time ago. He has his own copy, and I played at his house. And we ran through the game, and I had plenty of fun with it. But I don't know, I'm that kind of guy. I grew up, I kind of like an only child, so I have a sister, but I didn't grow up with her. So I ended up playing a lot of things on my own, so I really like to go back and play games on my own, and this is one of those games I want to do. So those two Resident Evil games, kind of want to do. I guess I should just go in order of what I've got here. So next is PlayStation 2. The next game that I have here is the Red Star. Red Star is I didn't know what this was. I got this for a really good price from a friend who owns a video game store. He was like, I saw it in the corner, and he was like, I was like, yo, what is that? And he pretty much told me, he was like, it's a pretty good game. You should probably buy that. It's right up your alley. You like fun. And I was like, yeah, I do. As long as it's fun, I don't really care. But it's like an over-the-head kind of shooter action game. I can't even explain what it plays like. It almost reminds me of like a Super Smash TV with a health bar, but you get to do hack and slash combos too. But it plays like a bullet hell game, almost like a Pocky and Rocky, but not really. It's weird. I can't even explain it. But this game is actually pretty interesting. It's really good. As soon as I bought it, I came home and played it, and I beat it like the next day, and I was like, this game is fantastic. How did I not know about this game? And it's mostly because of the fact that when I was in high school, when I was playing PS2 games, I didn't care about games that are fun. They just needed to be action-based. I was very, I guess, one-sided, where I only focused on one kind of game, and it was just action this, action that, and nothing really fun. So like nowadays I look for like the nook and crannies, like games that slip through the cracks, and games that people miss out on. Next is Beatdown Fist of Vengeance. I have very fond memories of this game, and I sold my collection a long time ago to purchase an Xbox 360, and this was one of the games I sold, and I hated it, and I hated selling my games, but this game I actually enjoyed, and I think a lot of people don't even remember this game, but it's like an open world kind of Final Fight Streetwise kind of game, but you build your own gang, and you run around the streets, and you're trying to figure out who set you up in your old like crime syndicate and stuff like that. And it has a pretty cool mechanic because you get to create your character. You can disguise them and stuff like that, and you have to you have a meter for like cops and how people perceive you in the world. This game was way ahead of its time, and I remember this game from my childhood, and I just had to buy it again. So I ended up purchasing it on eBay because I couldn't find it anywhere, and I ended up getting it, and I played through it, and I finally got a chance to. I'm close to beating the game. I'm really, really close, but the other day I popped in the Suffering the other day because I just felt like playing the Suffering, and I was just like, man, this brings back memories. So I just started playing the Suffering. But Beatdown is a pretty cool game. Next is Shinobi on the PS2. I remember when this game came out, and my buddy of mine bought it, and I played it at his house, and I thought it was the toughest game I ever played. I saw this at a video game store for $5, and I was like, I remember that game being really, really hard. Maybe I'm better. And little behold, I did get a little better, but this game is still hard. Shinobi is a game I played a long time ago with a friend, and I finally own it, and even he came up to me, he was like, wow, you bought that? That game is pretty tough. And I was like, yeah, it is. And he came over, and we just started playing, and it just started bringing back all kinds of memories, and I was like, wow, this game's hard, man. I really gonna have to like take really like some time out of my day to really run through this game, because this game is just so tough. So I bought Shinobi. I think this would be cool. So next is, I guess I should go here. Next is PlayStation 1. First game in line is Hexen. Hexen is a game I have very fond memories. This is another game that I sold out of my collection to get an Xbox 360. I'm very fond of two consoles, which is the PlayStation 1 and the Sega Dreamcast. Like, I love those consoles. Hexen is like kind of like Doom, but in the medieval ages. And I remember playing this game and getting really far and never getting a chance to finish it. So when I finally found it in the shop for $5, I had to pick it up. So I was like, yeah, I'll buy that. And playing through it nowadays, even I invited some people over and we were playing through it, and we were like, wow, I remember this game being a lot easier. And it was like, yeah, I think the fact that there's no twin sticks makes it hard. That the fact that you can't rotate that other stick and look around, it just makes things so weird. So you kind of have to think about how you used to play and where it's just the one stick. So Hexen is a game that I bought because I really wanted to get back through it. Next is Street Skater. This is a game I have very, very fond memories of. I love this game. Street Skater is very, it's mundane, it's dull, but I love it. It's just it's skateboarding before Tony Hawk Pro Skater. This game, I think, if I remember correctly, this game was actually in the arcade at one point where you actually get to ride the skateboard. I think it was, but I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that. But Street Skater I bought because I had a lot of fond memories of it, and I saw it for $1. So I was like, yeah, no one else cares about that game but me, I think. I don't think there's a lot of people that actually care about Street Skater. I cared about Street Skater. Next is a game that I never played when I was a kid, but I bought it anyway. Nightmare Creatures. So I bought Nightmare Creatures because when I was a kid, I was always afraid of this game. Even seeing pictures of it terrified me. Even the cover was terrifying. And one day I was just like, I think I was looking through an old, like a GamePro magazine, and Nightmare Creatures was in there. And I was like, oh, wait, I remember that game. That was a game I'd never played before. So I was just like scouring the internet looking for Nightmare Creatures until I came across a good copy for about $15. And I finally beat this game. And this game is like, it feels like the first game to do Dark Souls to me. It's weird. This game is tough. It's not easy, and you'll get game overs a lot. But I remember this game having a lengthy strategy guide. It was right up that alley, and it brought back some weird things. Like when I saw it when I was playing the game, I was remembering things I was afraid of in the magazine. So I was like, oh man, I remember seeing that in a magazine. That used to creep me out. But now it's so pixelated that it doesn't frighten me at all because it's so pixelated. But Nightmare Creatures is a pretty cool game. I heard rumors that we're actually getting a remake. So I look forward to that. I hope the story's a little better because the story is pretty dull, I guess. Next is Wild 9. Wild 9 is a game I bought because I rebought this game because I have it loose, but I've played this game when I was a kid. I think it's by the same people who made Earthworm Jim. Wild 9 is like an adventure game where you use like this kind of device on your shoulder. It's like a lightning, like a kind of like a bolt of magnetic field or something that you use enemies and you kind of smash them into different objects to kill them. And I remember playing this game when I was a kid and I loved it. And I just hated the fact that I didn't have a case for it, so I ended up buying another copy of Wild 9 for like $10 because I'm very picky. All my games need cases, and I think Wild 9 was given to me for free, so I was kind of like I just bought it, and I was like, I'm fine with that because I wanted to play through this game again. This game has a tendency to feel a little floaty though, like there's no gravity, or it's you just feel like you float everywhere. It's weird, but I like this game. I came really close to beating it when I was a kid, and then I ended up dying somewhere in the game, and I was like, I can't get past this part, so I'll just go back to playing Legend of Mana. And that's how I was. I couldn't beat something, I'll just move on to the next game. It was just like, my attention span is ridiculous, even to this day. Next is Vita games. PlayStation Vita, because I like Vita. First is Fighting Climax. How do you pronounce that? Dengeki Bunko? So, Fighting Climax this was actually a trade. I traded with a buddy of mine. He wanted a couple of games that I had, and I was like, here, just give me Fighting Climax. I'll take Fighting Climax. I don't necessarily like fighting games on the Vita, but I was like, let me see what it's like. Because I have Fighting Climax on the PlayStation 3. And I was like, sometimes you just feel the need to play a fighter on, when you're lying in bed and you don't want to sit up and play a video game. So I was like, all right, I'll get it on the Vita. So why not? We'll trade. And it had a pretty cool manual. So that was a plus. So I got Fighting Climax because I like this game. Played through it a lot, especially with the character from, I think it's called Durarara. He throws like fridges and like laundry baskets or street signs and stuff. He's my character. I like that guy. Next is Cursed Castilia. Yes, Cursed Castilia. I was gonna say Castle, but it's Cursed Castilia. This is a spiritual successor to Ghouls and Goose, I would say. It's just not as hard. It's difficult, but it's difficult because you make mistakes and you don't know patterns. So you have to dive into your inner 8-year-old and kind of learn. I love this game. I think it's fantastic. It had a limited print run, so I had to import this from, I think, Japan. I think I got this from Japan, or it was Shanghai, and the only way you can get this was through a limited edition. So I think there's only 2,000 copies in the world. But I bought this because it looked like Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and I was like, yeah, I'm down to play that as long as it's not as hard as Super Ghouls and Ghosts. And then when I got it and I started playing through it, I was like, wow, this game is pretty hard, but not hard like Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Like Super Ghouls and Ghosts, you'll get pretty frustrated, and you want to break things. So this game is not that hard, but it's pretty hard. But it has an option to speed run, so that's pretty cool. But I don't think I'll ever speed run that game. I'll just play through it and beat it, and I'm almost done with it, so that's pretty cool. Another game I got, this was a gift. This is Muramasa The Rebirth. I already own Muramasa on the Nintendo Wii, but I I wanted to play it on the Vita for some reason. It just felt like a Vita game to me. So I remember this game being really, really difficult. Not difficult to the point where it's like a Dark Souls game, but it's hard. This game is it's hard. It can be quite difficult, and I remember shelving it for a little bit, and then my friend, he was like, I know you want this on the Vita, so I'll give it to you for Christmas. And I was like, out of his own collection, he gave it to me, and I was like, that's awesome. You're giving me something out of your own collection, which is pretty cool. So I ended up getting Muramasa, and I have pretty cool memories. A lot of my games, sometimes I don't purchase them or import them. I don't. Sometimes I don't, but sometimes they're given to me by friends because it's through trades, or it's because they know I want something and they don't want it, so they'll pull it from their collection. I do the same thing. Sometimes I don't. There's something on my shelf I don't want. I just give it to a friend. I just gave Larry a copy of Battle Chasers, brand new. I wasn't gonna play it. I thought it was, but I was just like, I'm not gonna play this game. You want it? And just gave it to him. So that happened. Next is Sega Saturn. I got Sega Saturn games because I like the Sega Saturn. First is Cyberbots on the Sega Saturn. I got Cyberbots on the Sega Saturn because a friend of mine knew that I wanted it. I played this game a long, long time ago with Larry when we were in high school, ninth grade year, for me at least. And we would download a program on our computers, an emulator called Final Burn Alpha, and we would play Cyberbots all the time. And then I was like, man, this game is cool. How come we don't have this here? And then people would tell me, well, because it's in Japan. It's like, oh, that sucks. So one day I found out that it is on the Sega Saturn, and I was like, wow, one day I might bump into that. And lo and behold, I bumped into Cyberbots. What kind of sucked is that I didn't have the money to purchase it, so I was with a friend, and he was like, look, I will buy you that game because I know you want it. All you have to do is rub it in my other friend's face because he wants it. And I was like, sure, all right, I'll do that. So he ended up buying me the game, and I was like, all right. I didn't rub it in my friend's face. I was just like, look, when I'm done with it, you can have it. It's yours. He was like, sold, and I was like, okay. So as soon as I'm done with it, it's yours. So I'm that kind of guy. Like I'll just give people stuff, like especially when I'm done with it. Next and last of the Sega Saturn games, because there's not a lot, is Layer Section. Layer Section, a lot of you probably don't know, is the first game to the Raystorm series. Raystorm is a vertical shmup on the PlayStation 1, and it's on Sega Saturn, I think? No? Raystorm? Yeah, Raystorm's on the Sega Saturn. Raystorm is the vertical shmup. It's a trilogy. A lot of people don't know that this is the first game in... there's Raystorm, and there's another game called Ray Crisis, which is also on the PlayStation. With this game, I have the complete series now. I've beaten Raystorm and Ray Crisis, and now I can finally play through this, where I can finally beat it. So now I can't say I don't know the whole story, because playing through Ray Crisis, because I played through Raystorm first, and I beat that. And then a couple of months later, I bumped into a copy of Ray Crisis, and I was like, oh man, yeah, I need that. And I played Ray Crisis, and I was like, wait, this story feels weird. It feels like there's something missing. And then I started doing research, and it was like, yeah, there's a first game. It's called Layer Section. And I was like, why is it called that? And I actually think that we actually did get a copy of this in America, but it's called Galactic Attack. I think that's what it's called. I don't remember, but I think that's what it's called. And but I finally have a copy of Layer Section. Can't wait to play through it, because it's part of the trilogy that I need to beat. So, yeah. Next, and this is the last, I promise, because I know this video has probably gone on long enough, is Sega Dreamcast, because I love the Sega Dreamcast. First on the list is Blue Stinger. I got this from a friend because he knew I wanted it. So what I did was, in my circle of friends, I created a Google Drive where I made a list of games that I wanted, and I put all my friends at the bottom of it so they can make their own lists. And whenever we bump into a game that any of us need, we can always look at the list, go through it, and see if it's on our list, so that one of us, if we're not available, we can buy it for one another. So this game has been on my list for a long time, and a buddy of mine bumps into it, and he buys a copy of it for me. So this is a game that I remember seeing when I was in high school, when the Dreamcast was a big thing, and I never got a chance to play it, because everywhere I went, it was gone. And I finally get a chance to play it, and it is the cheesiest survival horror action game I've ever played, and I love every minute of it. It's so absurdly cheesy. You can't help but like just be like, yeah, that's Sega, with the bad voice acting and everything. It's right up my alley, man. It's right up my alley, and I feel like I have to... Wait a minute, that's Activision. That's not even Sega. That's Activision. Or did Activision, like, publish this? Because it's weird, because it has that bad Sega House of the Dead voice acting that everybody loves. Next is a copy of Space Channel 5. This is a Japanese import. Most of my Dreamcast games I like Japanese, I would. But I like Japanese Dreamcast games because they always have like an extra piece of flair. And I bought Space Channel 5 because I never played Space Channel 5. This was given to me by a friend because he didn't want it. Wait, no, I actually bought it from a friend. I was like, hey, how much you want for that Space Channel 5? And he was like, give me $5. And I was like, sold, $5. There you go. It's weird because I thought this was... I didn't know what this was. And then I found out it's a rhythm game. Who knew? It's pretty hard. It's a pretty hard rhythm game too. It took me quite a while just to get past the first level, and then like after the first level, when you kind of master the skills, you're kind of like moving along through it, and it kind of gets tolerable. You're like, wow, this game is actually pretty addictive. Like I like playing Space Channel 5. So I got this game because I've never played it. Always wanted to play it. I'm happy I got a chance to play it now because now I finished it. Obviously, I mean, who doesn't? There's a lot of games I don't finish, actually. Next this was given to me by the same guy who sold me Space Channel 5. He gave me his copy of Soul Calibur because he didn't want it. And I was like, well, I've never played the first Soul Calibur. I've only played 4 or 5. Which one was on the Xbox? I don't remember. Xbox 360. That's the first Soul Calibur I've ever played. I think it's 3 or 4. I don't remember. But the one with Yoda. I think it's Yoda. maybe, I don't remember. But I never played this, and I finally got a chance to play it, and I can see why people like this game. It's not terrible, but I'm not too big in weapon type Tekken games, but it's okay. It's not. How do I say this? The reason why I like the one on the Xbox so much is because you got to create your own character. The fact that you can't do this and that kind of bugs me. So it's probably that. Like, I think the game is fine. It's just that I would love to create my own character because, I don't know, I'm weird that way. Next is Breakers. So this is going to be a weird one. Breakers is an import from a programmer called Josh Prod. He ports games from the Neo Geo and he puts them on Dreamcast discs and he sells them. And it looks like a Dreamcast disc, but he gives you the option to, like, which I thought was cool, to flip the booklet into the English release, or you can have the Japanese release. So it's your call, which I thought was a nice touch. But Breakers is a 2D fighter. It plays like Art of Fighting almost, but way better. Like 30 million times better. Like, it plays really, really good. So I bought this because how often do you get a Dreamcast game that comes out in 2017, 2018, or whatever? I think I purchased this last year. I think, yeah, last year. So I got Breakers last year. And the last game on my list, because this is the last one, because I know this video has gone on long, is another Dreamcast game, and it's called Genryu. Genryu is another game by Josh Prod, and it is another Neo Geo title. A lot of Neo Geo titles tend to be very expensive. They're hard to get. So when I saw that he was coming out with another one, and it was Genryu, I jumped on board. I was like, yeah, I'll buy that. Whatever, just what is it? And this game is like a 2D platformer, action platformer. It almost plays like Strider, but it is so difficult. It's really difficult. The controls are god stiff. Like they're just really, really stiff. But to the point where it's so stiff, you kind of get you get accustomed to the stiffness, and the game becomes a little easier to play. I still haven't beaten this game because it's just, I get so frustrated. I get so frustrated, but I like it because I'm weird like that, I guess. I don't know. But that is the last of pretty much pickups. I'm probably not gonna do another pickups video until like a couple of months, like July or something, when it makes sense to me. Because, like, I don't know, there's so many, like, I don't buy video games like I used to anymore. I just kind of pick and choose now. So, but I figured, like, people like pickup videos, so I figure I'd do one. So there you guys go. Those are imports and, like, other stuff that I've gotten. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll probably do more. So I will see you guys next time.